What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, Jake Waxman and Tyler Lavalette. Two guys talk sports. Let's get this Waxon Wednesday on the road. Or should I say the special edition Waxon Wednesday? Well, debatable as to whether or not, but we're going to do things a little differently today. The focus is going to be on one topic, and that is Team USA's triumphant gold medal winning for lack of better words, Team USA's triumph in the gold medal match. What a story that was. You beat your rivals to the north to win the gold medal. These Canadians who have had your number for many, many years, and you finally beat them, and in the most important game in 4 years, in each 4-year cycle, as we call it. And but I will say this: it was a great victory for Team USA. Great victory. A victory we will never, ever forget. What I'm going to look at tonight is three things that people really won't be talking a lot about when it comes to this Team USA triumph over Canada in the gold medal match. There are three observations I've made. And I'm going to explain each and every one of them. So that my topics today is three observations that I made in the gold medal match between the United States and Canada. So, we're going to start with observation number one. Okay, so watching that game, going into the third period, the Canadians were on the attack, the U.S. was on the defense, and I will admit this, the last thing I wanted to see is Team USA play Canada in overtime. Because I did not want overtime, because I believed that overtime would favor the Canadians, because they got all that skill, they got those great shooters, you got guys like Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Brad Marchand, all those great players, all those great Canadian players, and plenty of shooters who can put the puck in. I did not want this game to go to overtime for that reason. I thought if we go to overtime, we're going to lose. You know what? I like to be wrong. And you know what? I was wrong. You know what? Now that I've had some time to think about it, it's now occurred to me, the U.S. wanted this. They wanted the game to go to overtime. They were playing for overtime. No. The U.S., they were not playing to lose this game. They weren't playing not to lose. They were definitely playing to win, but they had a strategy, a unique strategy. I think the U.S. in that third period felt, okay, the Canadians are on the attack, and we just can't seem to get the puck out of the zone. We can't seem to get the Canadians out of their rhythm right now. So our best hope right now is to force overtime. Hold on and force overtime. So it wasn't a play not to lose strategy. No, the U.S. was playing to win. They were playing their best card possible. Mike Sullivan and his team, they kind of talked it over, and it would not surprise me if they say, hey, it's okay if we force overtime. We're going to have a better chance. And also, earlier in that first period, the U.S. was down 2 guys. They were playing with 5-on-3. So I think being able to kill off the penalty, that 5-on-3 penalty, I think it gave them the confidence that, hey, we can win this game in overtime with just 3 skaters on the ice. And, of course, the truth is, with 3-on-3 overtime, anything goes. Anyone can win. It's all about who's going to make the plays. And that's what the U.S. was playing for. And you know what? It was good strategy by the U.S. They made it work. And I say it's a good strategy because we won the U.S. won the game. They found the way when it mattered. But it would not have surprised me to learn that in that third period, at some point in that third period, the U.S. kind of talked during one of the media timeouts. They talked things over and said, I think it would be best if we play for overtime. So that it wouldn't surprise me also if that was the strategy for the U.S. the whole time. You heard Brooks. When we think about the Miracle on Ice team from 1980, they had a strategy on how to beat the Soviet Union. Herb Brooks knew, okay, we can't having the most talented team will not help us beat the Soviets. We need a team that is physically fit, that can skate with the Soviets, that is well conditioned enough to stay with the Soviets. That was Herb's strategy, and one of the big reasons that the United States beat that Soviet team was they were well conditioned enough to do it. They stayed, from a conditioning standpoint, they stayed with the Soviets. So, and that's not to say this 2026 U.S. team wasn't conditioned enough to beat the Canadians It's just that both teams, they had to have a common strategy to win the gold medal. They had to have a particular winning strategy. And for the U.S., they came up with it probably either during the third period or in this game. The U.S. at some point, they knew our best chance to beat Canada is to force overtime. I think a lot of that was because 5-on-5, the Canadians were doing a great job defending their zone and not allowing the Americans to get any easy looks. They had a lot of pressure on that stuff. So playing for overtime was a smart strategy for the U.S. And it, you know what? It worked out perfectly and beautifully. And we get the storybook ending of the 2026 U.S. hockey gold medal winning men's hockey team. So that's just one of the things. That's probably the first observation I made. Now that I think about it, I didn't like the strategy because you want to win it in regulation, and I'm always against. You play not to lose, you're gonna lose. But you know what? This was the right strategy for the U.S. and the U.S. did it well enough to the point where they were playing to win the game. But they knew. We got to force overtime. Overtime's going to be our best shot to beat this Canadian team. If we try to win it in regulation, we'd be too aggressive in regulation, we are going to lose. And I wanted them to be more aggressive. I wanted them to attack the net, just like how the Miracle on Ice team attacked the Soviets as well. But it was not. But you know what? The U.S. team, they knew what they were doing. They knew what strategy they had to fulfill. They had to go with in order to give themselves the best shot to win the gold medal. And you know what? Kudos to Mike Sullivan and his coaching staff for coming up with the correct strategy to win the gold medal. All right, second observation I made. Now we're going to focus on overtime, and in particular the game-winning goal for the next two. First of all, we're going to start from the U.S. with the U.S. perspective. One of the things everyone knows, Jack Hughes, a great American hero. He scored the game winner. He got the golden goal. And he had a great tournament, too, for Team USA. But you know what? There was something I noticed on that sequence that led up to that goal. There was, you know what? We're going to talk about a guy, who got an assist on that goal. A guy by the name of Zach Werenski from Grosse Pointe, Michigan. This guy deserves a lot of kudos, and I hope he got an assist on this goal because the play that he made, holy cow, it's something that we are not talking enough about. Obviously, Zach Werenski, he was the guy that made the pass to Jack Hughes. He set up the game-winning goal. But the way he did it, I've never seen anything like this. It was an amazing play, and I've never seen a play like this. Zach Werenski, he skates into the zone with the puck, and defending him was Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon is right in front of him. And what does Werenski do? He goes and he actually checks Nathan MacKinnon. Like, he gives him a little shove. It seems like it may look like, when you look at it at first, it might not look like the smartest play, but you know what? It was genius. He basically, from an offensive attacking viewpoint, he actually went at Nathan MacKinnon, delivered a check, and by checking Nathan MacKinnon, and it was a clean check, by the way. By checking Nathan MacKinnon, he created a patch of ice for himself, which allowed him to set up the game-winning pass to Jack Hughes. He gave himself all that room, and he was able to turn around after checking Nathan MacKinnon and deliver probably the most accurate pass of his life to Jack Hughes. And, of course, we all know Jack Hughes, he buried it. Great shot by Jack Hughes, but Zach Werenski is a hero too. Like, all those guys on Team USA, they're all great American heroes now. But Zach Werenski, we should be talking a lot more about him because without that play that he made, I don't think we would be talking about the U.S. winning gold in the Olympics. But that play that he had to check Nathan MacKinnon and create enough space for himself to make that pass to Jack Hughes, we need to be talking about that more. That is truly right at the moment that the U.S. won the gold medal because everything was set up. Of course, I talk about Zach Werenski, checking Nathan MacKinnon and giving himself enough space to make that pass. But also, right place, right time for Jack Hughes. He was in the right spot So it was an amazing, well-designed play. I wonder if it also wasn't something that the coaching staff for Team USA came up with. We'll have to ask them. But either way, this is a very underrated play. Great, probably one of the greatest, the greatest offensive play I have ever seen in a hockey game. And the smartest. Check the guy on you, and then create enough space for yourself, pass the puck, and let your shooters go to work. It's amazing. Werenski to Hughes. Game winner, golden goal, gold medal, USA. And then also, there's the Canadian perspective on this. So this is observation number 3 that we're now transitioning into. And I want to talk about Jordan Binnington. Okay, I don't want to take anything away from him, nor Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes had an amazing shot. That was an amazing shot. And Jordan Binnington played an amazing hockey game. He was up to his usual stuff. He played incredibly well in that game. So I don't want to take anything away from him. With that being said, watching the replay of that goal, I think Jordan Binnington played that. I think he played that shot a little too aggressively. If you watch the replay, you see the pass that happens. Of course, the Team USA, they got Jordan Binnington off balance a little bit there with that pass from Werenski to Jack Hughes, of course. But however, that being said, watching that play, there's 2 things I noticed where I think to myself, Jordan Binnington played this a little too aggressively. One is, he shifts to the right to account for Jack Hughes, but he actually lurches forward. When he pushes himself to face Jack Hughes, he pushed himself away from the net, like he came out of net a little bit. And this is something that I noticed with Jordan Binnington in his style of hockey. He likes to come out of net quite a bit and play aggressively. That's his style, and more times than not, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, when you play aggressively, you're gonna give up some goals that you wish you could have back. So the thing I noticed with Jordan Binnington is, this is just my take on it, I think he came a little too far forward out of that, just a little. And in that play, he needed to hug the post. He needed to stretch his pads out and hug the post instead of come forward out. And maybe who knows? Maybe Binnington kind of panicked a little bit because when he saw the pass go to Hughes and Hughes was coming fast, but I'm not so sure Jack Hughes scores on that play if Binnington chooses to hug the post as opposed to coming out a little forward. And then also Jordan Binnington, I won't fault him too much for that. I won't fault him at all for this. But unfortunately, he guessed incorrectly on where exactly Jack Hughes was going to shoot. I think Binnington expected Jack Hughes to try and go top shelf or peanut butter, as some of us like to say, or on the side. I think he expected the pass to go somewhere where his pads could reach or he could glove it. But to Jordan Binnington's surprise, Jack Hughes shot the puck. He kept the puck on the ice. He shot low. And when he shot that puck, Binnington's pad was off the ice. And because his pad was off the ice, the puck snuck underneath him, went in. Golden goal USA. So if you guys watch the replay, his pad was a little up. And I think for the most part, that is because he was caught completely surprised by Jack Hughes coming at it. I think he was like Binnington. So a couple things you could know. I think Binnington, he came a little too far forward out of net to account for Jack Hughes, and he was watching Zach Werenski a lot. And when Zach Werenski passed that puck, it was a fast pass. So I don't know if Binnington could have reacted any quicker to it, but Binnington needed to hug the post there. This is my take. He needed to hug the post. If he did that and kept his pads, he would have kept his pads on the ground and probably would have stopped whatever shot that Jack Hughes would. It would have been a more tougher shot for Jack Hughes to make because Binnington's got that great glove. He knows what he's doing with the glove. Can move his body. He's very fast. Binnington's very fast. He's athletic too. I just think that one simple mistake led to that golden goal. on one mistake. I think the one mistake that Binnington made was that he played just a little too aggressively. Instead of coming out forward to face Jack Hughes, he needed to slide but hug the post. But again, that's my take. And you know what? Binnington's an amazing goalie. Binnington, he's a big reason why Canada won 4 nations last year. So, and you know what? He's not to blame for Canada's loss in the gold medal game. All right? He is nowhere near to blame for Canada's loss. Canada lost as a team. Canada lost this game because they had so many chances to put the puck in the net. They just couldn't do it. And you know what? Canada faced an amazing, amazing goaltender, an American hero in Connor Hellebuck, who had the game of his life. Faced 41 shots and made 40 saves, or if not more. Those big numbers. That's the thing. So Binnington, I do think he played that last play a little too aggressively, but it's not his fault. But you know what? Canada lost as a team. They let the U.S. hang around too long, and they couldn't. Everyone's going to talk about Nathan McKinnon missing that big. I mean, they had plenty of opportunities, but plenty of misses too. Canada did. And Nathan McKinnon's, that was the biggest, wide open, and he hits the side of the post. So, case in point, everyone made mistakes on that team. So, not just Jordan Binnington. Everyone had chances on Team Canada, had chances to put the U.S. away. And you know what? They had their opportunities, and they didn't do it. The U.S. had their opportunities, and the U.S. capitalized. They found a way. So, what you're hearing from me is just my observations on, so pretty much this Waxon Wednesday, 3 observations that I have made in the gold medal match in which the U.S. emerged triumphant. All right. With that being said, and here we are today. We can never look at the 22nd of February the same. It's not just the Miracle on Ice Day. It's now the same day that the U.S. won gold in 2026.